All right. So you should all have this paper in front of you. This is sharing a set equally. This is your IMN. And if you still have your Play-Doh handy, that's great, because we're going to kind of act this out first before we do any writing. So it says Zion has half a bag of dog food. If he splits the dog food evenly between his 4 dogs, how much dog food will each dog get? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my Play-Doh and I'm going to kind of make something that looks like a bag. A bag of dog food. Kind of looks like this. I'm trying to kind of make it look rectangular, because when I go to the store and I buy some dog food, it looks like a rectangular bag. Okay, and if you want and you have one of your cutting tools, you can use that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of make this look a little bit more like a bag. Kind of square it up a little bit. Okay, so there's my bag. Alright, this represents the entire bag of dog food. But wait a minute, does Zion have a whole bag of dog food? No, Zion only has 1/4 of a bag of dog food. So let's think about what I'm going to need to do to this this whole bag of dog food. That's right. I'm going to have to partition it into 4 equal pieces. So probably want to partition it halfway first. And then I can partition it into halves from there. So now I have 4 equal parts. Now remember, this is the only amount of dog food that it has. He has a 1/4 of it. And I'm actually going to separate these. That makes it a little bit easier to see. It's 1/4 of the bag. And he's going to share this 1/4 with how many dogs? 4 dogs. So he's actually going to have to cut this into 4 equal pieces. So if I cut it in half first, and then I cut each one of those in half, that will give me the 4 pieces that I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. But when I think about my answer, I have to think about my answer in terms of the entire bag. This representation right here is not a fraction, because these pieces are much larger than these. This does not represent a fraction. So what would I need to do? I need to cut the entire bag, each 1/4, into 4ths. So I'm going to cut it in half and cut each one of those in half. Cut it in half, cut each one of those in half, cut in half, and cut each one of those in half. And now I can pull those apart. Now, that looks a little more even. Okay? And each dog's going to get one of these pieces. So they're going to get this one piece out of how many? So now what do I have to do? I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 16. So each dog's going to get 1/16 of the entire bag, because they're going to get one of these pieces. But when we write our fraction denominator, it's in reference to the entire bag. Okay? So let's go ahead and do our representation. I'm actually going to take all of my pieces, I'm going to put them back into my can, because I'm pretty much done with my Play-Doh for today. And we want to make sure that our Play-Doh stays moist so that we can use it on Monday. Okay? So our representation is going to be a lot like what we just did with our Play-Doh. We're going to start by drawing our whole bag. So my whole bag of dog food is going to look like this. This represents one bag of dog food. But remember, he doesn't have the whole bag of dog food. He only has a 1/4 of a bag. So what am I going to do? I'm going to cut this into fourths. So I'm going to cut it in half, and I'll cut each one of those in half. So there are my fourths. I'm going to share the 1/4 that I have with 4 dogs. So I'm going to cut this in half and cut each one of those in half. This is what I should have. I have a 1/4 being cut into 4 equal pieces to share with the 4 dogs. But when I uncover, this does not look like a fraction. Fractions must have equal pieces. So we have to think in terms of the entire bag of dog food. So I'm going to extend my lines. I'm going to extend my model. And the part that we're going to get is one of these pieces. One of these pieces out of the group of 16 that are in the bag. So the representation is 1/16 of a bag. That's really important to label. Our number line. Our number line is going to, again, start with 0 and go to the number 1, because remember, we're only talking about one bag. One bag of dog food. It doesn't have a whole bag, so what do I have to do? Think about cutting this into a 1/4. So the easiest way to cut my whole bag or my number line is to first think about cutting it in half and cutting each piece in half from there. Now I have 4 equal pieces. But remember, we only have a 1/4 of a bag. And we're going to have to split that into 4 pieces to share with the 4 dogs. So I'm going to cut this in half and cut it each half in half. There are my 4 pieces. But again, when I uncover, is this divided equally? No. I'm going to need to cut each one of these 4ths into 4 equal pieces, just like we did with our picture, just like we did with our Play-Doh. So I have 1, 2, 3 cuts gives me 4 equal pieces. 3 cuts gives me 4 equal pieces. And 3 cuts gives me 4 equal pieces. And remember, I'm getting 1 of those pieces. I'm getting 1 out of 16 of the bag. 1/16 of the bag. So our last pieces we need to circle. What is it that we're doing? Well, today we are sharing a set equally. And when we're sharing the set equally, we start with the part that we're sharing. We're sharing a bag. Remember, we don't share people. That's murder. We only share food, or we can share dog food or other items, but we don't share people, and we're going to share it evenly between 4 dogs. And when we take 1/4 and divide it evenly between 4 dogs, we get 1/16 of the entire bag. Now, I bet right now you're starting to notice some relationships. That's great. That will help you with the next piece. But for now, I want you to take this paper and I want you to glue it into your notes. And then we'll have a different assignment for you to do with the remainder of your class time.